Welcome to Friday Value Video. We've been doing a series, and this is part 6 and the final part of this series on how to promote parasympathetic function so that you can have improved healing, improved repairing, and improved digestion. We've covered a lot of ground on this subject. Quick reminder, your vagal tone is a measure of the activity of your vagus nerve, which influences your healing, your repairing, and your digestion. A higher vagal tone provides a healthier stress response, while a lower vagal tone is seen to increase stress and anxiety. Now, since we began this whole series asking if you were running from a bear, you've hopefully learned it's important to know how to change that sympathetic nervous system overdrive that we get caught up in when we are stressed about work and all of our responsibilities, or chronic pain issues, or medical concerns, or health concerns, or family members, all those things that can put us into that sympathetic nervous system overdrive in our life. We've been teaching how to promote the parasympathetic heal, repair, and digest mode so you can stop running from the bear. And not so that you can get eaten, but so then you can rest and relax and sleep better and all those wonderful things. So, there were only 2 things left on the list of several ways that you can improve your vagal tone: cognitive behavioral therapy and prayer and meditation. Now, there may be some other things. This is not an all exhaustive list, but these are the biggies. Now, when it comes to cognitive behavioral therapy, there was a recent study in 2022 that found that it effectively stimulated the vagus nerve in the participants. And this was a very specific audience. They had autism and anxiety, but not only lowering anxiety levels, but also reducing depressive symptoms and fear. So that's pretty impressive. So, cognitive behavioral therapy, I'm going to give you just a brief overview. I'm certainly not a CBT therapist. I'm not an expert in this topic by any means, but I wanted you to understand the impact this could have to possibly help you. So, we're constantly sending updated sensory information about the state of our body's organs, with the vagus nerve upstream to the brain. And CBT is this empowering type of psychotherapy that emphasizes the power connection between your thoughts and your feelings and your sensations and urges and behaviors. It's based on the concept that our thoughts, our feelings, and our behaviors are all interrelated and can positively influence each other. CBT focuses on identifying and addressing those limiting schemas, which are deeply ingrained beliefs or patterns of thinking. Think of them like a mindset that can contribute to emotional distress and dysregulation. So, challenging these limiting schemas and cultivating more empowering beliefs will improve emotional regulation, reduce stress, and enhance nervous system functioning. So that's the basics about CBT. Moving on to the next. Now, I did put meditation and prayer together on the slide, but the data sort of, it looks into these things, it studies these things a little bit differently because they are different. So, there was a study that looked at participants for 8 weeks who attended a 1 hour long group meeting twice a week, during which they engaged in a course of Taoist meditation. Because there's all different ways to meditate. So, if you're going to do a scientific study, you got to kind of narrow down the variables. So they did this Taoist meditation with a qualified instructor. It was an experimental group. Or the other group listened to audiobooks. That was your control group. And the audiobooks they listened to was A Warm Cup on a Cold Day: How Physical Sensations Affect Our Solutions. And Healthy Brain, Happy Life, a personal program to activate your brain and do everything better. So I'm actually giving you some of the detail. Now, the course of the Taoist meditation, it was 16 hours of training over 8 weeks. And what they saw was this caused some topically well organized changes in brain activity, specifically the theta and alpha power, and markers of the autonomic nervous system, which is our topic, activity, which indicate sympathetic activation. Now, this effect was primarily observed in the resting state. There were no significant changes in the dynamics of indicators during the actual meditation session. So I found that interesting. Now, there was another study on long-term meditation, how it increases heart rate variability, improving autonomic function. And so some of the keys from this study were that meditation increases sympathetic or parasympathetic activity based on some key factors. And this study was seeking to better understand the science of the physiology of advanced meditation, those who have been meditating for years who really had it down. So it's really hard. It's kind of a muddy mess to look at meditation and the studies. It's really hard to narrow it down. Moving on to prayer. Prayer was found to slow down physiological functions, the blood pressure, the heart rate, the respiratory rate, cardiovascular rhythm, etc., in 2 of 3 vital based studies that were published. Prayer was seen to have a profound physiological effect on the body by activating what we want to activate, the parasympathetic nervous system, which is that system responsible for rest and healing and relaxation and digestion and all that good stuff. When we pray, particularly in a meditative or heartfelt manner, our breathing slows, heart rate decreases, and the body shifts from a state of stress, that sympathetic nervous system activation, to a state of peace and restoration. Scientific studies using brain imaging have shown that prayer and meditation, interesting how they lump the two together, increase activity in the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for that emotional regulation and decision making, while reducing activity in the amygdala, which is the brain's fear and stress center. So, hopefully, you have learned a lot of strategies, a lot of things that you can apply in your own life. And I will tell you, if you really do a deep dive into the meditation thing, a lot of what's seen is that the breath that becomes regular is very similar to the very first thing that was taught in this series, which was breathing techniques. Meditation will change the breath. So, I really, really, really want you to promote your healing and repair system so you can have lifelong well being. I will see you next week.